sun is my strongest source of inspiration. And if you look at it, it's not only a giant nuclear reactor we are running around the year, it's beauty, it's stream of photons all over the earth, and it's creating everything we have around us, not just technically. This is sensitive, this is beauty, this is art, and all possibilities for life on the earth, for humans, for plants, is inside. And we can have wonderful life by using it, only we must be clever enough to really understand the possibilities and then to translate it into our daily life. That's what I think the sun is.
We are on the brink of a new era, the solar age. The sun radiates 15,000 times more energy to the Earth than what humanity uses. It is the challenge of our time to use it and to make it available to all.
Motivation to develop a solar power village is caused by a lot of travels I did in sunny countries, mainly in Africa. In Africa, you can see on the flatland, to speak in the villages, the misery, especially of the women, walking up to 40 kilometers per day, collecting the last remaining woods for cooking, having to work under an abundant and rich energy stream of the sun. So, coming out of technology, having devoted a lot of time to develop methods to extract out of this precious and wonderful energy stream technologies just to help to avoid the works for these women. This was a motivation to create Solar Power Village.
Worldwide, the current centralized energy supply leads to tensions, environmental and climate catastrophes, and depression. Entire regions and countries that are under occupation, such as Palestine for example, are thus completely dependent on the benevolence of the rulers.
Every cell of this plant embed a perfect solar power station. In complete contrast what humans are doing, digging in coal, building huge central power stations. Going into this philosophy of the nature and to continue in a technological way means decentralization. And it has to mean decentralization, because if we don't do this, we never will have the chance to go in autonomous systems for villages and regions.
In order to realize effective decentralized solutions, concrete models of peaceful societies, which encompass ecology, technology, and social design, are vital.
Creating models of peace does mean that we try to find societies which are able to survive in a self-sufficient way, creating ecological systems, creating a technology, for example the solar energy, and then mainly creating new forms of living together.
The technological core of these concrete models is formed by the Solar Power Village. The first prototype is now being built in Tamira, the Peace Research Center in Portugal. Jürgen Kleinvector explains how it works.
The central idea behind a solar power village is a first technical example how to learn from nature, multifunctionality. Because we are not just producing only hot oil for cooking 24 hours or driving our Stirling engine to make electricity or cold. At the same time, we are producing a perfect microclimate, a microclimatic environment of a greenhouse, perfect for plant growth. Let me explain a little bit. The lens we can see here is a selector. it cuts out of this radiation field the photons or the radiation frequencies which are not required by the plants and turns them out into heat, into hot oil here. Optical lenses concentrate the direct part of this radiation into focal lines and transform it to the energy form you need. But the lenses also have another property. They let through the so-called diffuse part of the radiation. This part of the radiation coming out of the blue sky hemispherically from all directions. This is scattered radiations in the atmosphere. And looking to the semi-shadow on the ground here, this is the diffused radiation.
In Tamira, Jürgen Kleinwächter's technology is being further developed. It is the first one-on-one model of the solar power village. One of the students, Fabian Deppner, explains how it works.
I'm standing here in the first model of the solar power village, and from where we will later conceive a bigger one that is projected for around 50 people. The cooking works very simple. The oil is heated up to around 200 degrees or hotter. Then it is stored in a special storage tank, from where it can be used later during the nighttime or during days where it's not hot enough. From where it flows into a special oven. Basically, it has a double-walled pan where it flows through the space in between and therefore heats up the food that we want to cook.
SunPulse engine is an engine which was specially designed to fulfill the needs in a village in third world Africa, Asia, whatever. SunPulse in the village stands beside the power envelope, the greenhouse, the storage, and beside the well, because what we need is a heat source, which is provided by the sun, and we need a cold source. There you need a power of 1 kilowatt. This power should be provided by the heat of the sun and through the hot oil, which is stored 24 hours. It's a big challenge to produce an engine which runs already at temperatures of 150 degrees centigrade with good efficiency. If you want to have a highly efficient engine, it must move slowly. Therefore, we called it sun pulse, because the pulse of our heart is at the beat of once per second, approximately. And this gives us a long lifetime. Takes the heat of the oil, transmits it to the air. The air is expanding by heat and is acting on a power piston, which is working on a crank engine and which is translating this expansion movement into a rotational movement. Mounted on the flywheel, we have a generator in case we want to have electricity, and we produce directly electricity. And again, the charm is this can be done not only when the sun shines, can be done nighttime out of the hot oil storage. And this gives a chance of autonomy.
In his laboratory in Germany, Jürgen Kleinwächter shows his most advanced developments in solar technology for the future.
This is the second generation of the sun-ray optics and the hot photon receivers. We can produce with this specially designed photonic traps. This is a real trap. Photons are flowing in and radiation in the infrared cannot escape. This is a very special design. So we can easily go to 500 degrees centigrade and higher. Basically, it's producing the same quality, hot vegetable oil, which then is stored, but it is producing about twice as efficient. Meaning if we bring those optics in the greenhouse and next generation of greenhouse, we produce just double amount of hot oil as we do today. House-in-a-house concept is taking advantage of the same principle as the lenses in the power greenhouse. It means that we have an outer shelter against wind forces, rain forces, and then we can build inside with very inexpensive materials who don't have to resist wind forces and rain, a house. Something even much more exciting. For example, this material here, 99% sand, 1% binding powder, much stronger than concrete. So you can build very thin layers, double walls, and baken together in a mold which is heated by the hot oil heat from a hot photon receiver. It has about 10 times the bending strength of concrete. So we are creating inside a first envelope, a first climate, which of course already causes warmer air when it's cold outside, but then a second climate inside which is completely sheltered. And if we are then adding the lenses in the greenhouse, we are extracting the surplus heat and we are storing this heat so that if it becomes too cold in the inner house, in the house in-house, we simply reuse this. So we can make completely zero energy houses, self-sustainable. Sure. Water is on our earth the most precious prerequisite of life. If you observe our globe, water vapor is the main ingredient in energy and in the natural closed cycles of the weather machine. Is even creating the basic forces of tornadoes and hurricanes, but is unmastered by humans. It's destroying. But if you look at the energy within a hurricane, that's tremendous. So a dream is now if we bring some controllability to the molecules. We can influence diffuse cloud of water vapor. And the key to it is that we have found here methods by plasma ionization of this mixture of water and water vapor, water dust, to make the molecules controllable in specific fields. That means we can produce water on the spot we want, cooling on the spot we want, heating on the spot we want, wind or not wind, and so on. You really have a tool of a future environmental technology in your hand.
Due to the devastation that the present way of energy production and supply is causing on Earth, it becomes increasingly urgent that political figures and business leaders assume responsibility for finding alternatives and solutions.
Energy consumption is everywhere where people work and live. And this creates dependencies and existential dependencies, because nothing can happen, nothing can move without energy. We can never come to a renewable energy system if we leave this strategic development to the existing energy system and power companies. These power companies will become, there is no other way, the losers of this development. But we have many winners.
We are at a pivot point of human history. We have to develop massively solar technologies. And America is going to play a major role, for the simple fact that America at the moment is the biggest polluter. But entrepreneurs like our partners, the Arringtons in America, bear in themselves a big chance to change this. And consequently, they have built up in Greencastle a center of excellence. And this in a very close connectionship with the center of all the activities, which is based here in Tamera. Technology is never a self-purpose. Technology is for people, and people are here to enjoy life for living, and there's less and less possibilities on this planet. So the development of the real social models in which we can bring in this technology, this is the thing to do. Tamera is the case model in the world for us solar people to cooperate with.
For us, the most important part, how do we create social new structures where we can live in truth and trust? Mainly, we need a new knowledge building up social structures. The community part is the part which is hurted mostly in our society.
Concrete local projects can have an impact on the entire planet. Dieter Doom, co-founder of Tamera, explains in scientific terms why that is.
Das Ganze ist eine Einheit.
The whole
Alle
is
Teilnehmer des
unified.
Ganzen,
Every
die ganze
part of the
Menschheit
whole,
und Biosphäre,
within all
stehen
humanity and the
untereinander
biosphere,
in
are in communication
Kommunikation.
with
Sie sind
each
auf
other.
eine bestimmte Weise vernetzt. Nennen wir die soziale Gestalt.
The social form has to be embedded in a structure that can survive. It has to be compatible with the structure of physics, biology, and therefore the universe.
I want to share with you my deep thanks, especially in the name of African women, for the humane approach, for nature and earth, for the comprehensive vision of this one world which belongs to all of us.
In order to build up peace villages worldwide, a global education and cooperation initiative will be developed. The Global Campus Initiative has taken that task, together with cooperation partners and experts from around the world.
The Global Campus is a network of educational initiatives which all have certain common goals, and that is the development and the implementation of concrete livable peace models. And the idea is that it is a network with its campuses in different areas of the world, if possible soon on all continents, and the study subjects that go through the Global Campus are a new approach to technology, a new approach to ecology, a new social system, and a new effort to serve the world in the shape of a concrete peace model. Then we notice that a global campus, of course, is a place to study global thinking, that we are able to think globally, like not only abstract, but in a very concrete way. And all the pilgrimages and the walks and the direct actions we take from the global campus is one way to integrate global consciousness, global awareness, and global thinking.
One aspect of this is the Technology Transfer Training Center, or TTT, that will be installed in Tamera.
If you want to do something like this, you need a common vision. And this common vision is exactly the vision we built up with the Holy Land Trust, we built up in Tamera with our transformation platform.
In Palestine, one of the closest cooperation partners of the Global Campus is Sami Awad, the director of the Holy Land Trust in Bethlehem.
And what we focus on is in developing nonviolence as a way of resisting the occupation and as a way of building for the future of Palestine. For us, it doesn't end with just ending the occupation. The question is what comes after the occupation ends. And this is where the partnership with Tamera is one that is very strong and very committed.
At the moment, we try to implement in the Holy Land two major projects. The first one is that we want to build solar seawater desalination stations, typically for Gaza Strip, because they are cut from water. And the second one is that we want to implement solar power villages and solar greenhouse power plants in the region.
One of the international experts involved in the global campus is Seb Holzer.
Here, a water landscape is being developed. For water is the most important thing in this project, in this dry region. Water is life. Water is information. Water is capital. And thus, nature can recover from beneath, because the water goes into the body of the earth, and then fauna and flora can develop and recover.
The first Soleadobe was a real community project. It involved students from Palestine, Israel, Germany and Portugal building a house by very simple means which can be repeated in most places of the world. As a basic unit of a modular system, it can also serve for the construction of peace research villages in crisis areas.
San José de Apertado is a peace village in Colombia. For 10 years, its inhabitants have been living between the fronts of the civil war.
Our vision is that we always dream of a different world. We dream that tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, or in 20 or 30 years, our children can live peacefully without having to think that they will be killed or displaced.
Peace Research Village is what Gandhi put so well into words, that to be the change that you want to see in the world. That means that there is no society of peace without human beings changing themselves into peaceful behavior, peaceful reaction, peaceful being. Because there will be no peace culture or new culture without a peaceful human being. The global campus for me adds that from this inner change, which is always a central part of the research, we try to create structures, society structures, which reflect this inner change, this paradigm shift, and which support the person that is ready for the change and others in the world.
Tamara is working on spirituality and politics with a spirit of grace, a spirit of moving energy, energy that liberates, energy that helps us to get to know ourselves as human beings.
If we look to all these young soldiers who go to war, who are ready for war at this moment, do we believe seriously that they would go to war if they would have a knowledge about their longings in living together? We have to develop this knowledge of community very deep. The sun reminds me always not to fight against any system, but to create systems where non-violent life can be possible. The sun reminds me to honor life in all ways it exists.